we're good.
I'm good.
Alrighty. Well, uh, admittedly, last time was a lot of combat, but do you want to do a little recap? What all did you guys do during our streamed session?
Fought some lizards, amphibians.
Slaughtered some lizards, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely bodied some Fs that you did.
Blew myself up.
You did blow yourself up.
Yeah, you did.
My very first wild magic roll, and it was the stereotype of wild magic rolls.
I mean, you can't really ask for better than that.
No, of course not.
Yeah, fought some Fs.
There was
Uh,
dragon.
I wound up throwing away a different enemy stat block I had prepared. You guys got an interesting look at your first proper dragon.
It's horrifying.
It seems that you guys discovered sort of a unresolved bit of violence or something. There was a bit of a murder mystery you guys weren't too sure what happened with.
Yeah, dead people.
Yeah.
This is in the cabin.
Yeah.
But after that, I believe you guys forded the river, made it into the southern half of the continent properly, and had set about moving southward in the general direction of Defiance, the longtime home of one of your party members, and probably a place that at least Vinali's probably stopped through a couple times.
Probably.
Like, we didn't know if we were going to report that or.
Yeah, you had said something to the party about wanting to alert the dragon hunters of the Hydra.
Yeah.
Well, first things first, as we get started here, um, there will be another couple of days of travel, so I will ask again what people would like to do, what your positions will be during this stretch of the journey.
Are we on the water at this point, or?
You are right across it. You're probably um, there's not an actual settlement, but I would say somewhere like here.
Okay.
But so yeah, like you brought your horses and cart across using the um, leftover raft and canoe that your two elven companions rather expertly steered across the rapids.
Further reinforcing their potential relativeness.
Yeah, it's awkward. One of you is going to have to change at some point. Want to use what was it? Black and blue. The other one's white and gold.
Oh god.
But who is doing what in the caravan for this leg of the journey?
Mish is keeping an eye out.
Connery's gonna probably continue collecting food, foraging, and hunting.
Okay, Connery can make a survival check. When you say keep a lookout, Richter, what for?
In case there is another run-in with the dragon thing.
Well, so you guys are heading southward. You are leaving the Ravel behind, but you want to look out for other potential dragons or enemies?
Or just any, like, potential ne'er-do-wells on the road and such.
Okay, you can make a perception check.
Well, what are you doing, Rainbow? Get with it.
Alright, who else is, what are the others doing?
Mitty will continue his usual trail hunting, leading the caravan or whatever. Words are hard.
Alrighty.
Pathfinding, that's the name of it. Survival?
Oh,
You
shit, I didn't
think.
read that. I just wanted to open it so I could read it again. I didn't need to post it.
Make me an animal handling check, Drew.
Animal handling, okay.
Yeah, handle those animals.
Oh, hey. Thankfully, it's not charisma.
From one bear to another.
That's really, really good, actually.
They know better than to offend me.
Alright, elf boys.
I know I'm useless at this point, because I have tried to help out and not done very much. So I am going to spend my time sitting in the cart and studying that ancient scroll.
Okay, the one you guys took from Pandemonium.
Yeah, the rack spell.
Make me a Arcana check to see how your research will go on it.
Okay.
And lastly, for you, Cal.
Did somebody already do, like, navigation?
You have Mitty kind of steering the cart, and
Okay.
Mish is keeping like a watch. But if you want to help try and navigate more with your like cartographer tools, you can totally do that.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I've really been good at the last couple times we did the roll for.
Okay, I think you should have a tool programmed, so just make a roll with that and use your intelligence check. Alrighty, pretty middling, but most people did well. So, for your first couple of days here in the plains of DeLeo, in this safe region where the remnants of humanity and the elves that weren't part of the Braylands, following the destruction of Tethys, this is where they have made their home. And as your caravan plots its course southward, you begin to see why the territory perhaps appealed to these refugees. The horizon is a flat line the entire time you travel. For those of you who lived in the north, especially you, Mitty, having spent almost the entirety of your life in the cradle, surrounded by protective walls and varying elevations, Haven feels like something out of an artist's imagination with how exactingly undetailed it is. It is a sea of wheat colored grasses, at some points tall enough that you guys could duck down and be lost completely under it. It comes up several feet onto your caravan, and the horses have to tamp it down as they walk through. There are no trees, there are no rises in elevation. As you guys begin to, like on your third day, get closer towards the spine, the range of mountains that separates Haven from the march to the west, you begin to have, almost thank the welcome visual disruption from. It almost felt for days like you weren't moving with how little things changed around you. Cal does his best to keep you guys on a pretty straight southward trek. Midi does his best to keep the caravan moving forward and the horses taken care of and moving at comfortable but productive speeds. Conry again keeps you guys well provisioned. It's not with the usual forest fare, the elk and things like that he had previously been able to hunt. What you guys find, besides straggling lone predators that are like plains cats, not quite lions, but some sort of big cat like that. The only other thing that really seems to be the predominant prey animal out here are these herds of buffalo or bison-like cattle with huge racks of like 4 horns on tops of their heads that curve and curl into each other and form this almost like a coat of arms like shield on their forehead. That they just move almost like the bison on the old American plains, and just these huge swathes. And Connery, although you have to not piss off the herd, you are able to pick off some stragglers and keep you guys pretty decently provisioned during your trips here. For your part, Vinali, you somewhat recently in your life gained access to your arcane abilities, correct?
Yes.
So, given your skill set and your background, the understanding and interpreting of arcane runes and languages are not your strongest suit, not something you've had a ton of experience with, and you have a suspicion that even if you did, given the age and sort of out of date nature of this scroll, you'd probably struggle with it anyway. But you think, given the identification ritual cast by Manju back in Azerasai and some of your personal time spent with this scroll, that you have a pretty exacting idea of what the spell would do if you invoke it.
Okay.
You are aware of its limitations, the things they give you in the card, like the exact amount of time that it affects an individual, the parameters for how they can break the control over the curse that would be affecting them, things like that.
All right. Happy with that.
On your second day on this part of the journey, probably at some point while you're spending time with your scroll, Vinali, you will receive a message in your head from Manju.
Okay.
She will say, "I wanted to make sure you are okay. Kinu said you never arrived in the City of Songs, and given everything going on right now, I just thought we should check in on you."
I assume this is the sending spell?
Yes.
So 25 words. God, how to explain everything that just happened in 25 words?
Got lost on a different continent. Don't know what to do.
Got lost, resurrected a god, fought another god's acolytes, ran from a dragon.
Oh, you can
Doing
make them,
okay.
you can make them crap themselves. Just like got lost, winter's awake. Cut it off there.
Actually, they might be interested to know that.
They might. They also with the few amount of words, they might panic too.
I would just say got distracted, grew Winter's Grove on surface, now headed to Sinarbre for soul dolls. And if I haven't been actually counting that out in my head, but if I have the space enough, I'll say, be back soon.
She's gonna shit when she receives that.
There's a bit of a pause, but a few minutes later, you feel her voice in your head again, much more strongly this time. And you hear it's almost as if she's talking like directly next to you. Not sure what you mean by soul dolls, but that explains some things. The Whitewood grew again recently, and well, the Bastille Rock's falling. As long as you're safe, that's okay.
Refresh my out of character memory. The Bastille Rock.
That's
That was the base of the builders.
Oh, okay. That is very unfortunate.
That's all you answer back with. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. No. That is a complicated situation, and we're nowhere near them to try to help. I'll just say, sad to hear that. Hope you're keeping safe too. We'll try to make arrangements for your settlement.
Alrighty.
And
And
then Manali is going to think about potentially somehow getting something going in the grove for them.
make an intelligence check for me too.
Okay. That's pretty good for me.
Piecing together some of the things that you guys heard from, I think, a couple different conversations while you were down there, and some of your trips in the Whitewood itself. The Whitewood grew several times over the last couple thousand years, and the builders at different points arranged new walls to keep it contained. It hadn't grown in a long time, but the Bastille Rock used to be one of many bases the builders had, and like their whole organization, it was like all that was left. So if it has grown again, and from your memory, it was not super close to the Whitewood before. It was a little like hour's journey. This recent
Yes,
growth
the
must have
Whitewood
been.
grew a lot.
It grew a lot.
Which
Yes.
probably has not made us very many friends with the Arakai either.
All depends on the Arakai.
True, some of them are probably still interested in studying.
Some of them are probably ecstatic.
But you don't receive a further message during that day.
Okay.
As you guys make camp that evening, are there any conversations you guys want to have with each other?
I would certainly discuss the messages that I had gotten and the situation that they're facing down there. You think it's possible that we could, I don't know, potentially have some sort of arrangement made for them in the grove?
What do you mean?
Well,
It is originally, well, at least for some of them, their homeland. I know the Zoans are none too pleased with our trespasses there already, but given that they don't really have anywhere else to retreat to down there, perhaps something on the surface would be the next best thing if we could arrange it.
well, my concern is how Winter is going to react to those that abandon her coming out with arms outstretched. But I can talk with her and see if I can smooth things over a little bit.
Yes, I'm sure, at least as far as, and this is another refresh my memory thing, there was a name for the Dark Elves, I just can't remember it off the top of my head.
The Avari.
As far as the Avari are concerned, I'm sure, no, most of them are probably happy to have their deity back, but there are plenty of people living with the Builders that really had no business with her whatsoever.
How many of the Avari are there even left?
From my understanding, not very many.
Well, yeah, I'll talk with Winter next time she wakes up to see, but I can't imagine that even if she does allow them, that I imagine there'll have to be some sort of kickback on their end.
In the worst case, I could try to see if I could, I don't even know, use my parents' sway. They don't have very much sway in Twain, but perhaps they could do something to arrange a resettlement there for those of the Builders that no longer wish to remain.
I will say, Vinali and you, Wendy,
Mhm.
both of you know Twain has, for the past 25 years, been working on expanding northward into some of the territory that the tribes don't take great care of, like towards the furthest extents of the cradle.
Okay.
That is some of the mercenary work you were hired for, is civilized races that are trying to, build homesteads and kick out orc tribes and things like that.
Well, that could be a possibility.
Yeah, sounds like fun. They get a new home, we get to crack a few orc skulls,
Excuse me? I'll stop dying one day, I promise.
just like old times.
We'd never stop dying, Juju.
Oxygen is the slowest acting poison.
Well, I mean, you do stop dying at some point.
I mean, okay. Yeah, you're not wrong.
There's two modes in life: dying and not.
Now, decomposing, on the other hand, that you never stop doing.
I mean, eventually you'll be completely decomposed.
Well, I mean,
There will be nothing left that can decompose.
But at that point, is there a you anymore?
that's the
Well,
question.
Was there a you to begin with when the decomposition started? This is a
Welcome-
weird trail we're going down, and I.
Roll a
Welcome to-
religion check.
You stop being you. Like, okay.
Welcome to Chance to Wake Philosophy Edition.
Weirdly enough, this actually reminds me of something I wanted to mention to you, Rin.
Hmm.
I don't know if you've seen that Matt Mercer has a new class, quote unquote, that's specifically for dead characters while they're waiting to be resurrected.
Huh, no, I have not seen that.
Is it the Revenant?
Lingering Soul, it's called. I figured that
Interesting.
might be something that could come up here if one of us meets an unfortunate fate.
Why would you speak that into existence?
Or potentially
It's-
for NPCs.
Because he's gonna blow himself up here in a couple sessions.
Another one of those fireballs, and maybe.
As long as I haven't used my reaction in the same turn, I'm okay. Because I can always absorb elements.
I will also say, Mish, as you guys are sitting around the fire and having this conversation, you've been feeling pretty good the past couple days.
Considering we're almost home.
Well, no, like physically feeling pretty good. And tonight, as you were sitting around the fire listening to the people around you talk, you find yourself scooting you like closer than normal, and the warmth of the flame really like is seeping into your bones and giving you all kinds of good serotonin.
Yay.
You seem happy for once.
Well, yeah, it's like we've gone through non-stop attacks, non-stop monsters. Like, it's times like this where you just gotta rest and relax, you know? Like, you can't have, like, constant hunting all the time.
You can?
And it's odd, you can't just keep hunting all the time. You gotta take breaks.
Normally that means you're dead.
No, that means you're done for the time being. You can say, you can stop. Like, you don't always have to go on the rampage.
No.
You do realize who you're talking to, right?
And you've never seen an Ursa take it easy? Some Ursa and Defiance are some of those chill guys I know.
Wait, there are Ursa and Defiance?
There's some. They're mostly artisans and such. I mean, you know, artisans and let's see. Like, there's this.
There might be some half Ursa, not probably any full.
Oh.
I'm sure most Ursa would choose death over leaving the cradle.
Middy's the only Ursa that I've even gotten to know.
I am of a rare breed.
I mean, there's nothing. It's like you can't always be like always ready to just to kill someone or something. You know, you gotta take it easy.
No, I can.
And like some of the guys I know are, like I said, they're more of like the book learning type.
Well, I think
Although don't let that dissuade you. They can and have kicked my ass a few times.
You say that as though Midi isn't a book learning type.
Well, I'm sorry. The time I've traveled with him, he'd more akin to bash someone's head with the book than read it.
hey, I'm smarter than the average bear. All right.
Oh
I mean-
no.
I mean, duh.
And Mother
As we
does.
sit around our campfire eating from a picnic basket.
Get our third Ursa NPC. Boo Boo.
An Ursa that has been cursed with a permanent reduce magic spell.
It's actually just a halfling that is really hairy.
Oh god.
Oh god.
Day 67. They haven't noticed.
They believe I'd be one of them just with dwarfism. The fight is working.
Yeah, not that I don't agree that it's nice to take it easy every once in a while. It's just surprising that you're even capable of that yourself. You always seem on edge, Mish.
Well, I mean, ever since you told me about that whole thing about soul eating and whatnot, like I have to relax, or else I will be like one of that tetchy, always like on edge sort of type, and I hate being like that. You know?
Maybe that's the first sign of demonification.
Besides, I'm just happy that I'll be able to see mom and dad again.
You're not gonna eat their soul too, are you?
Not gonna what?
Eat their soul.
Heh heh. Very funny.
I mean, as the child, it is usually their job to devour the parents' souls. That's kind of just what happens in the natural order of things.
Is that how that all works?
No, it's not.
I mean, I've seen parents that seem pretty much as though their souls have been devoured since their children were born.
Well, I mean, considering the crap that my old man taught me everything I knew how to fight, and can still kick my ass 9 ways from Sunday.
What's a Sunday?
Okay, Rin, what's the equivalent of Sunday in this world?
My guy. You're gonna make me make a
Moon
calendar.
day.
Yeah.
Moon day.
Make a calendar right now on the spot. Go, go, go.
Moon
Days
day.
on holidays.
I'll work on that, but for the time being, just say Sunday.
Moon day.
Moon day.
I request that the day that winter returned be known as Winter's Veil.
That's sick.
All right. Well, if that was that all the conversation you guys had.
Just as a cursory side note that I'm sure will not have any issues down the line after considering the situation going on back down in the Underdark and the messages that he got. I feel like that might be enough to prompt Venali to attune to the badge.
Alrighty.
It's time.
So
We'll get to see what this item does.
as you sit around the campfire before turning in, you take some time to keep the badge nearby and look through the. It's like not quite a skull, but almost a decoration like that on the face of the shield. And you're just going to stare into its eyes for a bit. And as you feel the magical connection between it and you swear you hear like whispered voices in the back of your head, but they quickly disappear.
You okay, bud?
I'm alright, I think. Bit peculiar, but I've had stranger things happen around magic items.
So as you guys go to sleep that night, for fun, everyone make me a d20 roll.
Oh.
It's time to dream.
Rock, paper, scissors, Major.
Alright, I'm gonna pick rock then.
Need one from Mish?
A D20, you said?
Yeah.
Is this the first dream roll that we've made since our shared escape from the abyss?
Yes. So as you go to sleep that night, everyone turns in, and not that the rest of you don't potentially dream, but Conry.
Hmm? Oh god.
That evening, well after you're fairly certain you had drifted off, you don't, really have memories of a lot of different places, but you find that you enjoy sleeping out here. As flat as it is, the huge expanse of the night sky above you and the rather breathtaking view of the stars you do get to see, something about that all, feels pretty right and it's comfortable.
Okay.
But at some point, when you almost think you're waking up, but you have that weird lucidity of knowing that you're still dreaming. You kind of come to a pseudo consciousness, hearing the singing that you had heard 2 days ago, crouching down by the bank of the Ravel with your friends.
Oh, Jesus.
The melodies crescendo and fall and rise again, and they twist in ways that even the Hydra didn't twist them before, your mind supplying you with new and different variations on the themes that its melody called to. It's moving. It is, once again, you feel yourself getting emotional, even in this weird lucid dream state you find yourself in. But it's not the pure sadness that it had been. It's nostalgic. It's happy. It is, at different points, terribly tragic, and it feels motivating, but also distressing at the same time. The last thing you dream before darkness truly claims you is an impossibly deep, rumbling voice, masculine and ancient and craggier than the mountains of the Cradles, just not so much around you or near you, but from within you, say, I see you.
Jesus Christ.
I hear you. You are here again, Heritor.
Is that all it says?
You get the sense that it is still here, waiting to see if you will respond to it.
Okay, so who is it? Who are you? Kind of asks that. Kind of intimidated.
It waits a moment as if almost hoping you'll say more, but then you get just the barest hint of disappointment as it says, "You are the Heritor, and you are near."
What does that mean? Near where?
The voice says no more. You get a few more bars of the music, but then you feel the darkness claim you with the word Heritor, 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 just repeating in your head.
And then does this wake him up, or is he still asleep?
No, you sleep through the night. You wake up what feels like hours later in the morning, and you had from as you get up and start to stretch, what feels like a very deep and good sleep that night.
Do I remember the dream, or does Connery remember the dream?
Yeah, you do. It was a little. You remember it in the kind of surreal sense that dreams sometimes are when we wake up, but you remember the details.
I think Connor's going to be a bit uneasy. Would he recognize that it's the same, because he was asleep during this, that this was the same song that he heard when the dragon was around?
Yeah, the musicality of that song is hard to mistake.
Alright. So he's probably definitely going to be uneasy when he finally...
But the rest of you also wake up that morning, free from your own respective nighttime reveries.
And how's everyone doing this morning?
I'm alright. You?
Surprisingly okay. I don't think there's anything particularly worrying about that badge after all. At least nothing's happened to me yet that I'm aware of.
No extra appendages or anything?
Let me do a quick check. 4 arms, 2 legs. I think I'm alright.
Wait, what?
Isn't that normal for you?
4 arms.
It happens.
And
I don't count how many arms you outsiders have.
Jesus.
That's really cute.
MIDI on DMT. MIDI on DMT.
Sorry, anyway.
Yeah, kind of with some thoughts of things you discussed before and some of you thinking about dreams you've had. You guys do that, make your third day of travel from before. And it is on in the early afternoon, right around maybe 1 o'clock the next day as you were traveling, that you get your sight. You get the first sight of one of the caravans of Haven off in the distance. The chain of carts that you see, even from hundreds of feet away, and the visibility on the plains is a bit what's the word?
Atrocious.
I can't think of the misleading, I guess, because of how far you can see at any given time. You're not actually sure how far away something is until you get a bit closer enough to measure it.
Oh, like deceiving or mirage like?
Yeah. But as you guys start to get a little bit closer to it, as it appears to be heading, it's southwest of you and appears to be heading in sort of a northeastern direction. So you guys are sort of by happenstance moving closer to each other. And you can see it looks like a long string of probably 4 to 5 individual carts, it looks like. Each one wider and longer than the cart that your entire party is fitting in right now. They are connected, it looks like, to each other, front to back, almost like railroad cars, and are all moving in sort of a long procession. They're canopied and covered in canvas, wood frames, and things like that. And you can see that the entire procession is being pulled by, looks like a pair of the two sort of bison-like beasts you had seen on the plain already, and sort of swarming around this caravan is a few smaller carts and a few looks like lone riders on horseback that are kind of just forming a cloud around it.
I wonder where they got that idea from.
What do you mean?
Well, it reminds me a lot of the cat.
Say what now?
The cat?
Yeah.
What cat?
The cat folk? We were literally just there a couple weeks ago.
Oh, Jasper Whitepaw?
Yeah.
I can sort of see it, I guess.
They definitely, both the cat folk and whoever these people are would certainly buy up a store supply of canvas between the two of them. But you guys are sort of moving towards them, generally speaking. Would you like to approach, or do you want to try and move aside, or wait for them to pass? Like, how do you guys want to get in contact with them or not?
Would these guys know who the corpses in the cabin? Or were they wanted? Or are we not near there? Relatively common.
Does it look like they have any of those, like, shoals like the people had inside the cabin?
You'd probably have to get closer to see specifically what they're wearing, but make a perception check. Mitty asked.
Go, Mitty. What do your bear eyes see?
Everything.
Yeah, from this distance, you can't make out the specific symbology or heraldry that is on their the kurtas that this tribe wears, but you do see the people on horseback and the couple of individuals you can see at like the head of the caravan. You can see that they do have the sort of long poncho-like shawl things on, but they are like a deep crimson color.
And what was the color of the dead folks?
Yellowy.
Okay. Oh, they're wearing the same weird head scarf thingies, but I don't know, it might be a different color, I'm not entirely sure.
There's no harm in approaching. I don't think.
Hopefully.
Well, if they start something, we'll just end it.
Isn't that what we usually do?
Yeah, pretty much.
So as you get closer, some of the details come a bit more sharply into view. You see that there are probably somewhere between, it looks like 2, maybe 3, if one's hiding behind the caravan from your perspective, of these more standalone carts, smaller even than the size of your own, that seem to be piloted by a single individual and a single horse. There are also probably not quite 10 individual riders who are moving around the entire affair, and the behemoth of the proper caravan is a work of some interesting engineering and resourcefulness. Like I said, it is a monster of interconnected carts that seem like together could carry quite a lot of supplies and individuals across these plains. The 3 central carts of the sort of centipede-like construction, you see have like a 1-foot cutout section of the canvas, like centered roughly in the length of the cart on both sides to the left and right, and from each of these ports you see sticking out is the muzzle, for lack of a better term, of a really heavy duty iron tipped crossbow. So the entire construction has 6 bolt throwers in all.
God damn. Maybe we shouldn't talk to them.
They don't, and by now, I mean, you see them, they can see you. They are still moving towards you guys at the same pace they had been. They don't show signs of aggression, but you do get the picture for those of you who haven't seen one of Haven's caravans before, that these guys, know how to take care of themselves on the plains here.
Miss is from Haven, right?
No, she's
No.
from Defiance.
Okay, I'm sorry, I got them confused. I thought we had somebody from Haven. My bad.
Yeah, which, not that you would know specifically, but out of character, clearing up, Defiance is connected to Haven politically, but it's a different place, if that makes sense. But otherwise, you guys just letting them come up to you?
Sure.
Try to strike as non-threatening a posture as possible.
Yeah.
All right. As you guys kind of come to still your own cart, and Mitty puts the horses into a more relaxed position, and just as a general note, your horses, although they had some a tough time crossing the Ravel, have really been going pretty hog wild the past couple days, enjoying the plethora of edible grass beneath them.
Have we named them yet?
Don't know that you have told me if you have.
Name them.
I don't think we have.
You have two of them, so feel free to name them, and I will make a note.
Name them 1 and 2.
No.
How wasteful. I mean, we did buy them. Never mind. I couldn't remember for a hot second if they were like porter horses, but I thought we bought them. I just remembered we bought them, so.
But once you guys sort of come to a standstill, and the proper caravan is still a couple 100 feet away from you, you are approached by a couple of the individual riders. Looks like 3 in total, although one will take the lead and come in to approach you all. It is, you see a decently tall individual on a handsome brown and white sort of dappled horse. The crimson poncho is pulled tight around him, sort of keeping the wind off of the planes off of him. But he'll approach and sort of raise a hand in greeting and say, calling out, "Hail, travelers!"
Hello.
It's actually quite clear out today.
Where from do you come from, and where are you going? We did not mean to cross in front of your party.
For the time being, making our way to Defiance. He's like pointedly not saying where they came from.
At this point, they'll draw closer, and this guy is now at proper talking range. Pull the hood down over his head, and you see a pretty standard, if a little ruggedly handsome-looking human male, probably in his later 30s, with dark brown hair, cut decently close, and maybe just the tiniest bit of genteelness to some of his facial structure that hints at maybe some old elven or half elven blood in his lineage somewhere. He will approach you all, sort of looking around into your different faces, and say, I'm First Runner Cormus of our caravan here. And he pauses and sort of is locking eyes with you, Mitty. He'll say, well, this is a motley crew you've gotten together here.
That's racist, but okay.
I mean, no offense. I don't see very many parties of this mixed variety here.
We're
Fair point.
Is it not that common for Zone to be in mercenary companies around here?
You said yourself earlier that Ursa in particular would rather be dead than leave the cradle.
Well, yeah, that's Ursa.
And you're an Ursa.
In general, we don't get very many mercenaries in Haven as a rule. They're usually on the other side of this pine.
Oh, that makes more sense.
few travelers have business crossing the plains if they aren't heading to Defiance as you said you were. But and you see him kind of like drumming his hand on the side of his horse. Not usually parties of elves and beastmen together. Where did you say you came from?
Tiny settlement in the north called Scorn.
I see. Well, I suppose you haven't had trouble on the way.
No, why? Did something happen?
Well, I wouldn't say we didn't have trouble. There was those frogs, and then
The massive dragon?
I
yeah.
mean, the frogs weren't too bad. The dragon, on the other hand.
Yeah, actually, now that you're here, is there like a office or anyone that we can report that to? Because it was a full-grown Hydra with multiple heads.
You saw he was he was relaxed, if a little guarded, upon seeing your party's composition. But as you guys start talking, all of you openly about dragons, he kind of laser focuses in at I think Cal was the first one to say it. Hold on, our caravan is presently heading northward. You've seen a dragon in these parts?
Specifically in the sea.
In the Ravel.
I see. Well, we weren't headed that far, but that is worrying. What crossing did you come down? Was it manned?
It
Oh.
was manned, that is a way to put it, yes. But
Oh my
by the
God.
time we arrived, there were only bodies.
Couple of. They had those things that you're wearing.
These are kurtas. They are traditional garb of our tribes people. So it was one of ours then. That is unfortunate.
Well, yeah, that, but it was yellow, I think.
The color varies. There are many clans, many caravans that share colors. Still, it is sad that any Havenite would lose their life, and to dragons of all things.
We're not entirely sure how they died, actually. It might have been related to the dragon, but they may have killed each other. There may have been a third party involved. All we know is that the actual weapon was a sort of a stiletto dagger, I believe.
He'll kind of look thoughtful at that, and at this point, you see the proper caravan trail is moved to probably more within not quite 100 feet from you, and it's slowing down, coming to a stop, noticing that the first rider is holding you guys up in conversation.
If you do venture that far up and you hear singing, just vague, wordless singing, beat a retreat because it messes with your head, and my suspicion is that that's what happened to the two that were there.
Yeah, yes. We are, well, all members of these planes are well aware of the hymns. We would do our best not to listen to them at the best of times.
The hymns?
Yes, you are not from here, are you? The draconic hymns, it's an effect that all true dragons have on mortals. It is one of their more insidious tools of hunting mortal beings.
Seems a little cowardly for such a mighty beast.
I am no hunter, but my understanding is that dragons don't typically concern themselves with honor or cowardice. They're not like you and I, are they?
So they're nothing more than common beasts, then, in that regard.
I don't know if I'd use the word common.
They're
Yeah,
more
this is fair.
results-driven.
To answer the earlier question from the young lady, not sure what your experience with the plains has been, but there's no office in the plains, nothing so permanent. But unfortunately, we do not have a purifier nor any proper hunters traveling with our caravan at the present time. Sometimes they do, and you might have been lucky to find one here if that was not the case.
Not even an outpost? Oh.
Nothing permanent stands on these plains, girl. It is all moving at all times to keep us safe.
I see.
Such to do with the dragons, I guess.
There are other dangers, but certainly the dragons are the worst, if any manage to get past the hunters of Defiance. You say was a dagger. You wouldn't happen to have taken the weapon with you?
Did we?
That's a good question.
I think we did.
Mitty would have been the one to have it. He was the one that found it, right?
Yeah. I don't know if I necessarily said anything. Like I, said I was going to take it.
I don't recall you ever saying you put it down.
That's also true.
Yeah, I'll say if given you the benefit of the doubt, I would have assumed you guys probably would have taken it.
Okay. Then Mitty will pull out or he'll produce the weapon in question.
Yeah, it is a dagger, but it rides the line of like almost being a short sword, and it's still very, very thin. Like it is designed almost like a rapier blade to flex and bend pretty excessively.
So it's kind of like a defender, almost.
Yeah. And he'll take it and say, yes, this is one of ours. It's a scale breaker, designed for, if you believe it or not, wounding dragonkin between their scales.
Well, can't say I've ever fought a dragon, but I've tussled with scaled beasts before, and I can see how that would be a useful tool.
From the sounds of it, you came into a couple of clanspeople who were guarding the fording and somehow lost their lives, and that is quite tragic, but I shan't speak more onto the specifics that I don't know anything about.
Fair enough.
You'll kind of survey your group again and then look back at the proper caravan, and you see no one is intruding upon your conversation and sort of the private space you guys have, but you see there's a good low teens number of people that have sort of gathered around the front of the procession at a respectful distance, but are just sort of ogling your group and sort of talking amongst themselves.
A lot of whistling and foot tapping going on.
No, they don't seem impatient, but they definitely seem, well, a lot of them are, you notice, looking at Mitty, because it is pretty rare to see a bear person this far south.
If Mitty notices them staring, he'll turn to them, give them a certified Mitty smile, and wave at them. Whether or not that terrifies them or not is up to them. But
Most of them stand their ground. You do see a couple of the younger kids, and it seems to be mostly young adult here, but there are a couple of obvious children that do kind of run behind their elders' skirts and things like that.
Aw.
But Cormus will say, "Well, I thank you for the warning about the dangers of the Ravel, and like I said, we will do our best to stay very clear from that area. I know we are going in opposing directions, but I don't suppose you have any interest in traveling with us for a time. There is, I'm sure, goods we could trade and stories that others would like to hear from you, but I don't want to take you out of your way."
Perhaps not this moment, but where exactly are y'all headed? Are you thinking you'll be somewhere a while?
He'll think a bit for a moment, sort of staring you up and down, and you get the impression he's kind of, gauging your intent. He'll say, the matron of our caravan, Nair, has said that there is a rather large flock of the plain striders that, for the time being, graze day's travel or so to the northeast, and that is where we are heading to continue our hunt. And you guys know this to be true because Connery hunted off of it the other night.
So you're saying there's a large quantity of those elk thing?
Yes, they are hardy beasts and are the primary means for our clans to provide for themselves.
Maybe we'll contemplate for a minute. How good of cooks are y'all?
Personally, not much. I'm certain, although I haven't tried recently. But we have different skill sets in our caravan. A few good cooks, if the dinner I had last night is any indication.
Maybe we'll contemplate again. He'll say he'll look to the rest of the group. You guys want to help these folk out?
I don't see why not.
For a day or two out of our way isn't going to put us too far behind schedule.
Yeah, I don't mind helping them out. They seem like good folk.
Well, I will meet you halfway. We won't go the full travel distance tonight. We've already stopped for a while. We'll get a few more hours on the road and call an early camp, so we won't take you too far northward.
That seems amenable. We can, as you said, share wares perhaps and good company besides.
And we're not too bad in a fight in case something goes down.
Very well. I'll inform the matron and the others, and we'll get this show on the road. You can bring your cart around on the southeastern side of the caravan and fill in the space.
Will do.
He turns his horse, and with a whistle, the beast gallops back around to their side of things. After a few moments of sort of shouted conversation, the people leave the impromptu gathering pit stop they'd made, get back into their positions, and within a few minutes, the behemoth is lumbering again. You guys travel for. They only need to go another couple hours before calling a stop, and it's only early afternoon at this point. You've gone a decent ways out of your intended direction, but nothing that can, be rectified with, another half morning's travel. At length, the entire apparatus they have comes to a stop. They intentionally park the chained carts in such a way that they form like a U, with the front almost partially turning, so that they can use it almost like a cover and sort of build their campfires and tents and stuff in the center of the sort of half circle that it creates. You notice, people going off. Some of them foraging, some of them tending to the fires and building the settlement for the evening, and all those sort of running around. And there's probably in total 20 to 30 people as part of this caravan. But at no point, even with all the changing of hands and movement that you see, is there never not at least one person manning one of these, sort of staggering iron-tipped crossbows on the actual caravan itself. But as you guys come to bed down for the afternoon, and you can have some share some dinner, share some conversation with them, and we can get to that in a minute. Why don't we go ahead and take a quick 5 or 10 minute break?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Sounds alright to me.